Because, good. So she's used because and told us why they had to hunt for food. Brilliant. The Viking houses were rectangle. The Vikings had to cook on a fire. Again, she's used because there were no ovens. The Viking houses were made of wood. Okay. What does Lucy need to do next? She's got one error in each of her sentences. Have a look very closely. What do you notice about this word Viking and the word Viking that she's written? What does she need to do? Look really carefully. Lucy spotted it now, which is good. William, what does she need to do? It's tall, so what does that make it? Makes it a capital letter. Is this a capital letter? What about this one? So what does Lucy need to do next before she moves on? James?
Put a capital letter.
For the word?
Vikings.
Put your hand up if you give the word Viking or Vikings a capital letter. Okay, if you didn't, then that's something that we need to check through. Okay, so this is Katie's. Okay, and Katie's put Viking houses were made wood. What's wrong with that? It's a good fact because they were made with wood. But what does Katie need to do? Viking houses were made wood. Maisie, what does she need to do?
She has to put of wood.
Were made of wood. Were made with wood. Good. So do we need to read what we've written on screen?
Yeah.
Just like we do in our books, don't we? Okay. What's wrong with the spelling of wood? Just very quickly, what's wrong with the spelling of wood, Alfie?
It's not got two O's.
Good, lad, well done. Wood, okay, although we say wood, it's W-O-O-D, okay, for this type of wood. Okay, brilliant.
If you could actually do it so that you did a shared write with them, and so if it was a non-chronological report, for example, on the Victorian home life, you could do an introduction first day, you could have them in once they've got to grips with what they're doing, and you could model how to word process the introduction, then they would do that bit. So rather than doing the shared write in their books every day and you giving the feedback that way, you could actually do it via word process on the computer into the app, so you're building it as you go, so you've still got the knowledge but you're actually covering the writing process at the same time.
Right. Where would you start that process?
You could do that with year 2.
Start off with year 2.
Yeah, you could do that with year 2.
Like I said, this is the youngest year group who ever touched this project. They knew the stuff. So like you said,
yeah, they need the knowledge.
Yeah.
So for any type of non-chronological report, before you can write one, you've got to have the knowledge.
Yeah.
So you could then use that, and rather than just come in and write the facts, you could actually turn it into a report so that each section each day would be a new subheading, which would turn it into a new section within the app, wouldn't it? So by the end of the week it would be complete, and then you could go back and go through the editing process, but they wouldn't need to redraft, so to speak.
True.
It would just be editing, tweaking things. So for example, it might be, right, I asked you to use these certain time words, when and while, or I asked you to use conjunctions. Have you got those? Let's look at this day, it wasn't quite as strong, and add them in. And I suppose in terms of the marking, you can take it home, feedback, and then they open it up the next day and they could read their feedback, make a note, try and improve things, then move on to the next bit.
Yeah. Well, if the children had pressed publish, it sends it to you and you can actually send them a direct message straight back.
Right.
So you could actually, we could today have said, right, everybody hit publish, and it would have come to you.
Yeah.
You'd have had a list of apps to look at, check through, and then you could actually write them some feedback, hit send, and it would appear in the right-hand side of their screen. Like
so then they
message.
can edit it again. Yeah, that's what you need.
Yeah.
And that's an effective way of feedback through the communication. I like that idea.
Yeah.